I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube, Joel Sains, and yes, it's October, and that's my buddy Butch Rosenbalm. We are here to discuss two horror movies, both My Bloody Valentines, the 1981 movie, and the 2000. Oh, I gotta look the release date. 2009. My Bloody Valentine.
Remake.
Yeah, the remake. When did you first watch the original, Butch?
I saw it as a kid somewhere in the 80s. It's actually on my little Cheeto notes here. And for whatever reason, I didn't care for it. And I didn't watch it for a long time. And when the remake came out, My Bloody Valentine 3D, which I'll probably just be calling 3D for the rest of the night, it came out on, I loved it. I loved the remake. And it came out on DVD. And I think it was Shout that released. I can't tell. Released it on the original, and I picked it up. I'm like, it's a classic, and I kept meaning to watch it. So when you said to watch it again, truthfully, this is the first time I've sat down and watched it, and man, this is so much better than I remember. I don't remember what it was I didn't like about it or what. Maybe it was, just hit me wrong. You know how that is sometimes.
Yeah.
Man, that is a really good slasher, really good whodunit or who is doing it.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead and say I think the remake is pretty darn good too.
Yeah, when I first watched My Bloody Valentine, I was a kid, like you, but I was a lot younger. Um, it's about 91, and this was on TV, and I caught it from the beginning and everything. And as a kid, I just didn't understand it. Like, wait, what's going on? And then a couple years later, as a teenager, when I got to watch it again on TV, then I understood this. It is, out of all the slashers, because I had seen Black Christmas late into my teens, so I didn't catch that as a kid. This is something I would probably wait to show my kids, not necessarily because of the gore, but because the plot is just so, it's crazy. It starts off with this guy whose name is Harry Ward, and you don't know why he's doing this stuff. And other than he's a minor, you know next to nothing about him. He is literally more of a mystery and enigma than Michael Myers. And that's saying something, considering I'm a Halloween fan. So I am going to burn in hell here as soon as this video is over. But there is...
Make sure you upload it first.
Yeah, I will hit the upload as I'm on fire. I promise you, Butch. I swear. But very good, very good. Yeah, he's really a mystery wrapped inside of enigma. He really is. Even you don't know why he commits the murders. He's copied. Not spoiler alert. He is copycatted by copycat killers in both films, but for different reasons, I would say. And it's really, really interesting because though you know more, you find out more about the copycats, so forth, than you do the real life killer. The first killer, Harry Warden. What did you make of that, Butch?
I think that's a cool thing. I mean, you get back to the early 80s, the birthplace of the slasher, Michael, Jason, Harry. Part of the appeal was you didn't know much about them. The first Nightmare on Elm Street, you find out everything you need to know about Freddy. I mean, they tell you more later, but these, back then, you get to all those early slashers. I mean, you go even to like the minor ones like Humongous and like that. It makes it, in this case, it makes it interesting. It doesn't always make it interesting. I think the deal with like the Hosky mask and the Shatner mask and the miner mask is it removes the humanity from that killer. So, for all the crap that Rob Zombie gets for, say, his remake of Halloween, at least he told you why Michael did what he did. Whereas John Carpenter never gave one you know what, let alone two. Michael just did it.
Yep.
So I think it's interesting. The two Harry Wardens, from the original, from the remake, are two similar but different characters, because at least Harry number one is understandable. The two executives were in a hurry, they left, caused the methane explosion, and he gets trapped. And I can't remember if they say it flat out, but the implication was that maybe he resorted to cannibalism because it took him a while to get to him after the other miners died. And he comes back a year later because they were in a hurry to get to a Valentine's Day dance. He comes back the next Valentine's Day and kills the two owners. Now, we get into a spoiler alert. That's the last people that the first Harry kills. I mean, I know it's a movie. I'm not condoning killing people, but you can understand him coming back and killing them people. However, in both movies, it starts this, downward spiral that causes other people to start killing. And I mean, in both cases, you can argue that Harry was the instigator, but you have sympathy for Harry, number one. Harry, number two, he's trapped in an explosion, but it's the boss's son that caused it because he didn't bleed the line. Mm-hmm. And this Harry number two, Harry My Bloody Valentine 3D, aka 3D, he's a bastard. I mean, wow. He's trapped down there, and he kills the other miners so he'll have oxygen. He killed them to eat. Yeah. He kills them apparently immediately, so there'll be more oxygen. Goes into a coma, wakes up a year later, blah, blah, blah. And when he wakes up in 3D, I mean, he just slaughters that hospital. I mean, even as a jaded horror film fan, I remember seeing this in the theater when it came out. I was like, damn, in my opinion, there's not been a horror movie hospital scene like that. I mean, it's brutal. Nurses, doctors, kids, patients. And he's going after the boss's son that caused the explosion. So, it's interesting when you look back at this. I mean, yes, they were all following a little bit of a formula. Even going back to Norman Bates, who I consider, if you will, forgive me, Lord, the Adam of slasher films, of slasher killers. I mean, they've all got that inhumanity thing going on.
Yeah, I saw. When did you see the 09 movie?
In the theater when it was out.
Yeah. Me too. I saw it with my brother. I said, "Hey, let's go see the My Bloody Valentine remake." He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go see it." He's like, I was like, "I'll pay." He's like, "All right." So we went to get paid. I said, "See, this is what a slasher really looks like. Not the movie you took me to. This is what a movie looks like." He's like, "You know what?" I was like, "What?" He's like, "Go fuck yourself." It's like, "Okay, I will."
What did he go take you to? I want to know.
He took. Oh my God, what was it? I think he took me to see Hostel, and I did not like it.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, and here's the thing: we went to we went to My Bloody Valentine when it was released. The 3D one. We went to Hostel when it was released. Okay, the day it was released, we went right before the evening showing. So we went to I think it was the 1 p.m. showing. And usually there are people. And this was on a weekend. Keep in mind, there are 5 people in that theater. You know who those 5 people were, Butch, for Hostel? Me, my brother, my brother's friend, my brother's girlfriend, and Julie. Those were the 5 people.
When I went to see Jason X, you know how many people were in the theater?
No. See,
Me.
Now
That was it.
I got a reverse on that. When I went to go see Jason X, it was packed.
I went on a Thursday, I think it was. It was the day before it went out of the rotation. Yeah. So it was almost the last, it was just about the last showing. And it was awesome. I was sitting there, I was just, the towards the end of the movie, the guy at the theater comes in, to clean. I'm like, I didn't buy any popcorn, dude. It was just, I said, I'm the only one here. I know you still got to look. I said, you can do whatever you need to do. I said, it's just me, though. There's something about seeing a movie in a theater all by yourself that is just oddly satisfying. But the reason I asked you why he took what they took you to see, when 3D came out, that's when the first of those Platinum Dunes garbage remakes came out.
Yeah.
Marcus Nespel, Platinum Dunes, garbage. They did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then removed anything and everything remotely scary about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it was so bad. I just couldn't wait for the film to end. I got up and left with like 5 minutes left because it's like, I don't care.
Was that the one with Arlie Army in it?
Uh-huh. And they were working on Friday the 13th remake, which is also garbage. And I never bothered with the Nightmare on Elm Street, but because I remember me and our mutual friend Patrick McRae talking about this, and we had both saw 3D separately. And I said, the great thing about 3D is this is what like you said, this is what a slasher film is supposed to be like. This is what a remake is supposed to be like. It's everything you could ask for and hope for without just getting the ridiculousness. I mean, I didn't care for, I don't know which one of the Supernatural brothers is in 3D. I don't care. Yeah. But at that time, it's like CW was the breeding ground for all actors for horror movies, especially remakes. He does a fine job. I don't care. You had Tom Atkins that we had from last week from our last video from Night of the Creeps.
Yeah.
So, it was like, yeah, this is a gratuitous TNA. Lots of violence, bloody, some suspense. The scene in the supermarket is really good. It really, really holds your attention. You don't know who the killer is. And the revelation of the killer, how they do the killer in 3D, I love. I think it's great. And I mean, it's like, I remember, I think it was on imdb.com. I posted it. I said, like, it started out, attention Platinum Dunes in all caps. This is how you make a remake. Stop with your garbage.
Yeah, they got
trying to make horror movies, especially slasher films, realistic. Just go with it.
We'll have to cover the Friday the 13th remake again one day. I'll promise, Butch. I'll be gentle.
But yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, all right. With the remake here, they get everything right, because to go to Friday the 13th remake for a minute, there's only one thing I didn't like about the remake: the ending of Friday the 13th. This here, they get everything right. I can't complain about one thing in the remake. The suspense is good, and I like how they do an interrogation in the remake. Good.
There is one complaint.
What?
They killed Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins. Like, how can you do a legend that way? Honestly, I was so mad at the film for like 10 minutes. I mean, he goes out with he gets a pickaxe and it comes out like through his mouth. I mean, they give him a great death, but it's just like, you can't do that to a legend like that. But yeah, all kidding aside, I agree. Yeah, totally. The remake nails it.
Well, they killed the guy from Roadhouse in the remake too, the bartender, isn't it? Or the The one guy from Roadhouse is in the remake too. I forget his name. I gotta. Oh, I'm about to have to go find it now. God, I'm gonna kick myself. No, no, no. That's
No.
Tom Atkins. Where is he? And
Oh,
it's
Sam Elliott. Is that not who you're talking about? Is it?
no, 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 no. I forget
I've
his.
never seen the remake, so I don't know who it is.
Okay, he's in the remake and he gets killed too because he says about Harry Warden's ghost is going to kill him too, and he gets killed in his home. So that's the guy I'm talking about. Tom Atkins.
Oh,
Now Tom
oh,
Atkins.
yeah. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name now.
Yeah, but that's who I'm talking about. That guy with Tom
Okay.
Atkins. It was nice to see Tom Atkins in this remake. I mean, it's nice to see Tom Atkins in anything. He's the one guy you want to see in a horror movie because you never know what's going to happen with his characters. And here too, it's a bit unpredictable. I thought, man, they're not going to kill Tom Atkins, and I was wrong.
You know, the first film, this one, trying to not get glare on it so people can see it. Hello, kitty cat. One of my favorite things about older films is there like a little slice of life of what life was at that time. The first one, I want to check my notes. It's filmed in Nova Scotia.
Yep.
And at an actual coal mine. Let's see. Only certain lighting devices can be used because of potential danger with methane explosions. The town that they went to, they painted it up and everything, and then they get the creative folk get there and they're like, "Oh God, we've got to undo all this," because they wanted a rundown coal mine. Yeah. And but thankfully, as far as I know, there was no one going around in Nova Scotia killing miners. Yeah. But in the background, the cars, the fashions, the town, how much gas costs, things like that. That's something I love about older films. You look at it and you catch a glimpse, if you will, an unintentional glimpse of what life was like back then. And I can remember 1980, not real well, but so it's just kind of funny. It's like, oh yeah, this is what was going on then.
I do have a question for you, and I'm asking a question too because I got to kill a little time. I got to go feed my cat real quick, but I do have a question for you. So I'm going to ask it. Who do you feel played the better copycat Harry Warden? I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, as Joel has said, there are two. Each one has a copycat. The first one. Let's see. I believe the character's name is Axel. Turns out his father was one of the two guys that were hurried and left at the beginning of the first film and caused the explosion. And then Harry Warden killed his father, and so he went cuckoo from that. It's really up in both of these films. It's up in the air who really the killer is, and in fact, the remake kind of uses that knowledge against you because you're left. There's let's see. I want to get the names right, and I apologize. I think it's look like it's Tom and Axel, and you're like, both Toms have left town for a decade. So they come back. Tom's former girlfriend's with Axel. In the remake, they're married, got a kid. Works pretty good because you don't find out to the end that Axel's father was killed by Harry. So in the original, Harry / the killer, because Harry kills the two and then takes off. Harry doesn't kill anybody else, but Axel uses the Harry identity, Harry Warden, to kill people. In the remake, the killer is Tom, who's been gone for a decade, and you find out he's been in and out of insane asylums. So I'm going to go with the remake just because what's his name from Supernatural? I think it's Jensen, I think is his name, has more to do and it plays against type. It's like I was saying, especially if you've seen the first one, because Axel's the killer in the first one, so you're looking for it. Axel in the remake is not a nice guy. He's married to, I think her name's Sarah. They've got a kid. He's the sheriff, but he's cheating on her with this. Looks like she's still in high school chick. Of course, they all kind of look like it because they're all CW people. So honestly, I was not pulling for Axel. I did not want him to make it through. I'm going to go with the remake. Does it better because you find out more when Harry woke up from the coma in the remake. He went after the boss's son, who's played by the Jensen, and there's a party at the mine. He kills a bunch of people, almost kills Jensen, and gets away. We find out later that Tom Atkins and DeSoto from Emergency, Kevin Tighe, among others, killed him and buried him, but they didn't tell anybody. Mm-hmm. But it stays in Tom's head, and he develops. Some people would call it schizophrenia, but I'd say it would probably be more MPD, multiple personality disorder. And like there is a Harry in his head, and the reveal scene, man, we're just all over the place with the spoilers, so never mind if you haven't seen it. There's Axel the sheriff, Sarah his wife, who used to date Tom, and then Tom, and they're in the mine. And Sarah is the smart one. She has a gun, and she doesn't know who to trust. And Axel has told her that Tom's been in and out of insane asylums, and that's why he, part of the reason he left for a decade. And Tom's like, "It's Axel, it's Axel. He's right behind him." And you see in the film, Axel comes up, and you're like, "Oh crap, he's going to kill her," and he just walks past her, and he walks, if you will, into Tom, and he's like, "No, don't do it," and then and he does a really good job of switching those personalities. And in fact, you normally ask me what my favorite scene is, and I'm going to tell you the chase scene in the remake after that, where he's smashing the lights as he walks. I don't know if you caught it. As he smashes the lights, you see Jensen, and when the light goes out for just a second, you see him in the miner costume, and then when it comes back, it's back to Jensen, and they do it real quick, and it's very, you can tell, who's in charge, and I love the way they did that. It's visually, it's very stunning. It tells you a lot about the character, and it's just, a little bit creepy because you're not expecting it.
Yeah, I would say Jensen Ackles or Eccles, however you pronounce his last name. Sorry if I butchered your last name.
But don't.
Yeah. He did a great job, being your killer.
Yeah.
He got the better.
He has that nice boy thing.
Yeah, he got the better written movie of the two brothers from Supernatural, if you will. At least the complete written movie, or complete production all in of a movie. Again, I like the Friday the 13th remake more than Butch does, so I'll say that up front.
That is not hard to do.
With this, the remake here of this movie is perfect. It's really good. Yep. And the thing I like too about the original, they do bust the lights in the original, and it's how you find out the killer is the killer in that movie too. Both movies are different in that way. That's what a remake and an original should be, different from each other, but also but especially with a remake should have that respect for the original by being different. And it does. And when you watch the original, you can appreciate the original twice as more and still look at the remake and go, man, they did a hell of a job with what they did. Because the Nova Scotia stuff, yeah, that mines looked creepy. Everybody in that film looked like they could work in a mine, but so the remake as well. They picked people who looked like they should be in a coal mine. I will say for Blumhouse, because I know Blumhouse is remaking this, so they're making another one. Please put David Selby in a mining movie. Just please. Just please.
Yeah, the one thing I thought about was, one, if you set us down and you gave us the particulars that are the same of the story, there's a mine cave in, there's a guy named Harry Warden, he goes crazy and kills people, but it's not really him. Basically gave us me and you a writing assignment. One of us might have wrote the original and the other one might have wrote the remake, and in essence they tell the same story, but they don't tell the same story. They do it separate. I mean, yeah, I agree with everything you just said. It's the original's good, the remake's good. The remake makes you appreciate it. There's three, beyond the title and everything, there's three really distinct homages in the remake. There's the head in the dryer, the mining gear that's up on the hangers that it's coming down on one of the female victims trying to push her a certain way, and the smashing of the lights as Harry chases the victims. It really, these folks that did the remake, you could tell they were fans of the original, or at least appreciated it. And it's like, hey, okay, this is where we came from. We're going to do our spin on it, but we want you to appreciate it. And I think I think they do it. And I tell you something that makes me sad is both of these films set up obvious sequels, and neither one was able to go anywhere. And it's like, wow, I don't know. Sometimes we're better off not getting a sequel, but I just, both cases, I was like, man, I'd like to see, where would you take this?
I would say this. Even though we both love the original remake, I'm sort of glad in a way, because you see how franchises have just carried on and on and on to the point of ridiculousness. And I love Halloween, don't get me wrong. But it's like, look, would I love for them to just finish Resurrection, make a sequel to Resurrection and finish that storyline? Sure. Will that ever happen? No, that ain't ever going to happen. Resurrection is not popular. It's split amongst the fan base. And I would say, though I like the movie, yeah, I'll get you a drink, buddy. Though I like the movie, it's not for everybody. But with My Bloody Valentine, the original and remake, you can look at those two films, man, they're great movies. Don't worry about a sequel.
Yeah. You appreciate what we got.
Yeah. Because that was sort of, and I'll say this with the Friday the 13th remake, because the way it ended, I feel that made it hard for them to set up a sequel way more, because the sequel they were setting up, and I don't know if you heard this, was initially found footage. And I'm like,
yeah, I heard that.
I'm like, wait, how does that make sense? I'm like, are they shooting the movie where it's going to be found footage? And someone said, no, it's from the first movie. I'm like, there wasn't enough found footage from the first movie to be a movie. Because the one guy did have a camcorder. He was looking for pot. He was looking for marijuana. But it's like, no, there's not enough of that. So that didn't make sense to me. I'm glad, and I say this not to knock Platinum Dunes and not to knock the original. I'm glad we didn't, because these films are both so good. You can literally go back and watch them and be satisfied with them as films.
Yeah.
And have fun with them.
If anybody thinks maybe I'm too positive in some of our reviews, just wait for when Joel makes me do Friday the 13th remake. I will tear this movie a new asshole. The only good thing I have to say about it is Derek Mears and probably Nana Visitor, and that is it. So if you're like, yeah, Butch is always too nice, whenever we do that one, check that in, because Joel better be ready, because I'm going to have my fisticuffs up, buddy, and I'm coming in with fists flying, and I will not be a pretty sight.
It may be the only movie I have to. It may be the one movie I have to pay Butch to review.
No, it just means whatever. After we do that, whatever I get to pick after that, you better be ready. It may be obscure. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Because there issues with the Friday the 13th remake. Yeah, there are. I didn't deny that one, but I like it a little more than Butch does. With this, we both love these two. The original holds up still so well after all these years, and I'm glad we got Patrick Lessiter, Todd Farmer, who wrote this. They made one hell of a team for this movie. Would I be upset if they asked them to do the remake? Fuck no, I would not. I don't know if they would or whatever, but I know Patrick Lessiter was going to do a Halloween movie, but that never happened. It was called Halloween 3D, but it never came to fruition. A lot of Halloween movies never came to fruition. With My Bloody Valentine, goddammit, we got two movies. So, where do you?
It's funny. We keep mentioning Friday the 13th. I want to mention. I don't know if you caught it. Both films start on Thursday the 12th. So both of these My Bloody Valentine films happen at least partially on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They don't make a big deal of it, but it's kind of, if it's one of those things, if you catch it, you're like,
Well, that's the one thing too. These films, both of them span days, and that's what's interesting. That's what makes them unique too. Because with Friday the with like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Halloween will usually takes place on a 2-day period, October 30th and October 31st. Friday the 13th usually takes place the entire day of Friday the 13th. At least the original did.
yeah.
Because Pamela was murdering people during the daylight hours. Sorry about my dry.
There's a couple quick notes about the original. I was reading, said one of the makeup designers shipped a dummy corpse to the set in a coffin, which, needless to say, caused much alarm at the Canadian customs when it came in. Unfortunately, it did make a small profit, but nothing like Friday the 13th, so no sequel. The original was made by Paramount, which I was thinking about this earlier tonight. Paramount has like this love-hate relationship with horror films. They love the money that Friday the 13th made, but they were like embarrassed about them. And it's like, I don't get that. The original was apparently a victim of the MPAA, the Motion Pictures Arts Association, the ratings board. They wanted to get revenge for Friday the 13th sneaking through, and it wasn't long after John Lennon had gotten killed, so it was a kind of a blowback against violent films. So there's not, in the original, there's not graphic violence. There's quite a bit of insinuated, and you do see some stuff. That the head in the dryer in both films is kind of. Oh, here's one for you. In the remake, the first two characters killed, their names are Jason and Michael. And hey, this is from up your way. It was filmed in Pennsylvania.
Oh, nice. Southwest.
The truck driver at the beginning of the remake.
Yeah.
That films himself having sex with the chick Irene. That's the screenwriter.
Nice.
Let's see. Yep, I got on my notes there. So
yeah,
just some trivia for you there.
Yeah, it was filmed in southwestern Pennsylvania in Armstrong County along Route 28 corridor on locations including Sparkles Market in Kenton, the Ford City Station Police, the exterior of the Logansport, Maine, and Bethel. So yeah, the 1981 had some PA connections. So yeah, or sorry, the 2009 maybe had some PA connections. 81
was
had
in
Nova Scotia.
I say this as a George Romero fan. And there's just something about, and I know it's not Pittsburgh, but there's something about Pittsburgh area towns. I remember watching the remake. I'm like, okay, this wasn't filmed in Pittsburgh, but this has got to be close to Pittsburgh. It has that look, and gives it a little, again, gives it a little bit of authenticity, shall we say.
Well, if you ever, by some chance, come to Connellsville, Pennsylvania, okay, go down to Yawk River Park and just stand there and admire the Youghiogheny and listen to all the quiet and the traffic as it crosses the fucking bridge. And you'll just go, yeah, it's quiet here, but it feels like somebody could have got murdered here. That is Pennsylvania in a nutshell. Everywhere you go, because yes, we have cities, but for every city or borough or town, you have a lot of rural areas, and they are very accessible easily. I lived in a borough. You could walk through the goddamn woods to the gas station and to the Giant Eagle that is still there today. The Giant Eagle store is still not far from my mom's house, where my mom used to live, where I grew up at. And so there's a lot of rural. I worked on a farm, a horse farm, when I was a teenager, and it was near my mom's house. I walked to there, and I would walk home too. Pennsylvania gives this very, oh, nothing's going to happen to me because everything's so quiet and normal around here. But for all the quiet and normal, yeah, some crazy shit happens in this state.
Tennessee is much the same. You have a lot of rural areas. We went to a wedding today, and we drove. And I'm like, have we crossed over into North Carolina? And my wife started laughing. I'm like, I'm serious. Well, we got there. It was really nice, but it's all, like, you're by the same token, farm country, like, yeah. And yet we're not that far from where Evil Dead was filmed. So yeah, don't stop. Just keep going. Go to the big city and get gas. Keep going.
Well, that's the thing too. For all those big cities you have, like you said, you have all those rural areas that you're going to get to the city. Because I live in the mountains. Okay, well, everything here the only thing open that is on the mountains past midnight is Sheets, because Sheets never closes. Okay.
What is Sheets?
Sheets is a gas. It's a gas station, but it serves food and stuff like that. It's where Julie works. But Sheets never closes. Well, Walmart at one point in time was open 24 hours, and now it's not. It closes at 11 o'clock. So the only thing open in Fayette County, PA, right now, right at this moment, as we're talking, and will be open, will be Sheets. And that's the thing. Like, if you're out at night on the Pennsylvania roads, it's like, go home. If you can go home, go home. But it gives that sort of quiet, false calmness that, again, I'm not saying crazy stuff like all happens all the time, but it can happen. So,
but it sure can.
Yes, it can. No Harry Wardens, though. Nothing like that.
Hopefully not, anyway.
No. Though Pennsylvania, there are mines in Pennsylvania and abandoned coke ovens. Where I used to live with my mom, there was, when you would pass the creek on the right side, you could see the coke ovens, where the coke ovens were, and they're still there. But parents would tell you, don't go there, don't go in there, and we never did.
So sometimes when you're a kid, you don't listen to your parents, but sometimes you need to.
Oh yeah. You need to have that mind of, okay, my parents are telling me this for a reason. It's not just them being paranoid old people. Sometimes the things they're saying make a lot of sense. But with this movie, with both movies, I will say that I love the mining sequences we get, both of them. The cinematography is fun in both. I can't complain about either. Just both great remakes. I give both a 10. What do you give it, Butch?
9 to 10. I mean, and I'm speaking as slasher films, or either one of these is going to compete with Ten Commandments, Big Sleep, Rosebud, or any of those films? No, they're slasher films. They give you everything you want in a slasher film. So yeah, as slasher films, I'd give them a 9 or a 10. I mean, I don't know what else you could ask for.
Yeah. Who did you let me see here. Yeah, cat. Gotta go back to the cast on this one. Let's see. Where's the minor? Yeah, for Peter Coper as Harry Warden, the minor in the original. So we have that. For the remake, let's see where Chris Carnell as the minor, and for Richard John Walters as Harry Warden / the minor. So who did you like best as Harry Warden, Butch?
The remake, dude. When he's in the hospital and he wakes up, he has a look about him. That is one of the things about 30 years can help you give you're not limited to just budget. That's the only thing about the original is it's not made on 15 million or whatever the remake was, and not to say it looks cheap, but at times it shows the fact it's a low budget. Whereas in the remake, you've got agents and you got all the casting and everything, so they get a guy that just looks like he could be a whack job and go out there and kill people. So I find the remake to be he definitely has the look of a killer.
I wonder if Blumhouse will film this in Pennsylvania, because they do film movies pretty cheaply. Their remake, and I think Pennsylvania has that film where they don't tax people for filming there.
Yeah, there's some kind of tax credit.
Yeah, so I do wonder if they'll film it here. But I would love them to film it. Nothing against my home state, but I would love them to film it in West Virginia. They're known for mining stuff. That or Colorado, because I'm a sucker for Pell Rider, and it's where it's set.
Here goes Jules porn, scenery porn.
Yes. Hey, and if you include sand, I'm there. My clothes may not be there, but I'll be there. So that's as my kids call it. Is there anything you gotta add about the original or remake, Butch?
Check them out. They're worth it. Just they're slasher films. They're worth it. I think both of them are.
What's your movie for in 2 weeks? You got one?
Joel, for our other spooky season film, I'm going to give you a choice. Okay. We have Trick or Treat.
Oh.
One with Anna Paquin. Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp.
Oh.
If you would like to continue the Tom Atkins, we can do the other one, Halloween 3. And then here's 3 I just kind of grabbed. Dead Zone with Christopher Walken. The Howling, the original.
Oh God.
Or Day of the Dead. I'll let you pick.
Oh God.
Any of those 6.
It's your pick.
No, you got to pick.
Oh God. So you picked one of my favorite. You picked my favorite werewolf movie. That's illegal.
Okay. All right. We'll throw that out. We'll throw that. Howling is out.
Yeah.
You got Trick or Treat, Sleepy Hollow, Halloween 3, Dead Zone, or Day of the Dead.
Let's do Day of the Dead.
Alrighty.
Let's do Day of the Dead. All right, Butch. I'll see you in 2 weeks, buddy. God bless, man.
All right, bud. Take care. Everybody have a good one.
Bye.